Yeah, no respect in the respect to the man like Mark. They love what the man talk on the radio. In case you never know. You call that radio, call that the radio. You call that radio, call that the radio. Come and say, in the my name, I'll just go with the flow. In the my name, I'll just go with the flow. So till you miss a mark, now go bend down low. Till you miss a mark, now go bend down low. Boom. Lot of mercy. Yo. You call that radio. You call that radio. Come and say, don't you be another man, I'll go lose your head. Say, don't you be another man, say, I'll lose the head. I say, radio, call that radio. Straight from out of Glasgow. Straight from out of Glasgow, nice enough on the studio. Come and say, in my name, I'll just go with the flow. In my name, I'll just go with the flow. So till you miss a mark, now go bend down low. Till you miss a mark, now go bend down low. No radio, you call that the radio.
And we are live, as you call that, radio TV. And I think we're going all the way to, actually, I didn't even ask you, we're going to, in Bristol.
Not too far away. I'm on a canal boat on the Kennet and Avon, so sort of near Bath.
Right, okay, got you, amazing. And thank you. It's great to have you on the show. And you've just got a new EP out. It's Sally in the Woods. And the EP's called Sally in the Woods.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so it's named after, it's pretty much where my boat's moored at the moment along this canal. There's a whole stretch of woodland that's called Sally in the Woods, after there was a woman that lived there about 100 years ago. Her husband died and she was left homeless, so she started squatting in a wee cabin up in the woods there and lived on her own off grid until she was about 100 and over 100 basically, and lived off grid. Used to, I think when she got to 100, the locals used to help her carry the water up the hill. And then now there's a bit of a legend that she haunts the things, but I don't think she haunts it. I think she was just a badass woman.
And so her presence is there. She's not haunting it. She's just left her mark on the place. So it says sallyinthewoods.bandcamp.com. And I was just listening to the EP before we went live there. It's brilliant. And how did the songs come about? How did the project come about? Did you have an idea to call it Sally in the Woods before?
The name.
Did the name come after?
The name came, I've been playing music with Jess Collins as the percussive dancer, and I've been playing music with her for as long as I've been playing music, really. And then Rhona Dalling, the fiddle player on it, I've been playing with her just since I got to the sort of Bristol area. It came about, just from years of playing together, really. And then the name was a bit of a last minute addition due to being living on the canal. And the other person on the EP is not playing live with us at the moment because she's living in the Appalachian Mountains, is Jessica Stiles. And she was the one who was like, we should call it this, because, we got together and developed a lot, really. The lockdown was so good for us because it allowed us to just sit around and play music all day and not feel pressured by the rest of the world, which you do now,
Absolutely. And is how did the recording process go? How did that work?
Oh, it's great, yeah. All the songs are traditional. They're all very old songs. The Outlandish Night's probably the oldest one.
How old is that? Do you know a date on that tune?
Records of it going back about 1,000 years. So yeah,
wow.
the early, there's ones of it I think it's about a man who comes down from Scotland to England and is trying to woo this woman, and he woos her and tries to drown her in the sea, but she drowns him instead. And I loved it, as soon as I heard the story, because it's often the other way around, isn't it? There's a lot of the folk songs where women get murdered and left out in the cold, and this is sort of one of the ones where she drowns him. So it's that good. And then, I do, you just felt, and then you learn, it's why do I love this so much? And then I've been learning a lot more recently about the witch hunts and, how many thousands of people, especially in Scotland, thousands of women were drowned. And the more you read about it, the more you're like, oh, that's why. It's some sort of ancestral knowing that you just
There's
sell.
been lots of witchy vibes, I've noticed. I think lockdown, for some reason, it seemed to, like, I know Minerva Wakes did a witchy project, and there just seems to be lots of witchiness going on in the last year or two, I've noticed.
Yeah.
And probably as a result of, you know, the witch trials, I know there was lots of books and stuff like that came out about it as well. And you were just saying before we went on air, what was the name of that tune again? It was the woman who dressed as the female drummer. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because at first, before I knew it was an old song, I was like, is this going to be discussing? Is it okay to say a female musician? Like, so just to give you my take on that a wee bit is like, because obviously Mrs. Magoo, shouts to Mrs. Magoo, she gets called a female DJ, which she takes as an insult. She's like, no, just I'm a good DJ, which is totally understandable. And the same for Catherine Slamboree, you know, getting called a female MC. But the flip side to that is that I do know, you know, some female artists who do like to say it themselves in their own bio. And I suppose that I do know a lot of females who would like to support a female artist, so they would maybe more interested in checking out a festival band if they knew it was a female MC rather than another male MC and stuff like that. And so I thought Female Drummer was about that, but it's even more interesting. It's what it's about.
Yeah, so it's like, I think it's, you know, that song's obviously from a time where women weren't allowed to join the army, or, I mean, I don't know why you'd want to join the army, but they weren't allowed to, and they weren't allowed to leave the homes, basically, and the only way of getting out of the homes and doing anything interesting would be to dress up as a man and go sailing on the seas, or, you know, fighting. Not that I believe in any of the wars or whatever that are going on. But yeah, so they get dressed up in man's clothing. That's the story of the female drummer. She goes and dresses up and just becomes like an amazing drummer, and, you know, everyone's saying that she's like the best sort of drummer out the troupe or whatever. And but then eventually she gets found out because someone falls in love with her, and she tells them that she's a woman, and then she gets kicked off back home. But I think it's like, yeah, like there's a lot of things that have paved the way for us to be able to be there, for us to be able to be out now and doing our thing, you know, playing music and doing all the things that we do now as women, and that are slowly becoming more normalised, for it not to be like, oh, it's a woman, you know, out there, and we don't have to dress up like men, or, you know, we can just be how we are. But yeah, I think definitely like the whole pandemic time, like I've always been interested in the old songs, I think, but I think like when you've not got things in the future to look forward to, you definitely end up looking back quite a lot more, and like looking at the history and having these time to like read into all the things.
That's a very good point. There was nothing to look forward to for a long time, but luckily there's lots of stuff happening now. There's lots of stuff to look forward to, and you seem to be busy as well. There's been lots of gigs. Was it festival season quite busy time for you?
Festival season's really busy, yeah. I mean, for about 10 years I've organised gigs, and I used to manage the Langan Band for 8 years. And
yes, Jon,
yeah. And I put the stage on at Kelburn Garden Party and do various programming jobs and event promotion stuff. And then now obviously getting we're coming up to Glasgow next week. We're playing, you know, Lee McGilvery's house concerts.
Oh, brilliant, amazing.
Yeah, so we'll be up in Glasgow and doing a live video then, and in Perth in the Trois Tams.
And the Trois Tams, great venue as well. That's good.
Yeah, not been there yet.
Well, with our drummer, you probably know Gordy. He used to live in Perth, so Perth was kind of like a wee. Well, when he was in the band, Perth was kind of like a home from home gig for us. So I've got good memories of playing Perth. Trois Tams and the Green Room. I don't know if I think it's different owners now. I don't know. I think it's changed now, but yeah, amazing. And so when's the Glasgow gig? Is there still tickets for people to go?
Yeah, I think they've just come on. It's next Friday the 18th. Next Friday the 18th. Yeah, I haven't got the link now, but I'll put it.
Why play female drummer? So it'll give us time to get the link sorted out and let people hear what it's all about. So this is Female Drummer. It's taken from Sally in the Woods, self-titled EP, Sally in the Woods, which came out about a month ago. And you can get it on Bandcamp now.
Well,
let us know in the comments we make this.
I was brought up in Liverpool, but when I was 16, I ran away from home. Me lads and a soldier I became. With me fine cap and feathers, was a rattling drum. They learned me to play upon the rubber-dubber-dum. With their fine cap and feathers, likewise a rattling drum. They learned me to play upon the rubber-dubber-dum. With a gentle waist so slender and her fingers long and small, could play upon the rubber-dub, the best of them all. Well, as many as the pranks that I saw amongst the French, and boldly I did fight me boys, although I'm but a wench. And in buttoning up me trousers, how oft times have I smiled to think I lay with 1,000 men and a maiden all the while. With me fine cap and feathers, likewise a rattling drum. They learned me to play upon the rubber-dubber-dum. With a gentle waist so slender and her fingers long and small, could play upon the rubber-dub, the best of them all. And they never found me secret out until this very hour. They sent me up to London to be sentry at the tower. And a lady fell in love with me and I told her I was a maid. She went into me officer and me secret she betrayed. With me fine cap and feathers, wise a rattling drum. They learned me to play upon the rubber-dubber-dum. With a gentle waist so slender and her fingers long and small, could play upon the rubber-dub, the best of them all. He unbuttoned it up me tunic and he found that it was true. To shame, he says, to lose a pretty drummer boy like you. So now I must return to me ma and dad at home, and along with my boy comrades no longer can I roam. With me fine cap and feathers, wise a rattling drum. They learned me to play upon the rubber-dubber-dum. With a gentle waist so slender and her fingers long and small, could play upon the rubber-dub, the best of them all. Diddly dappity dum diddly diddly dum diddly dum diddly dum diddly diddly dum diddly dum diddly dum. An outlandish night.
You call that radio? You call that radio TV? No. You call that radio TV?
This is You Call That Radio. That was a bit loud. Sorry, I got a bit loud there. Amazing female drummer taking part.
You still got the other song playing?
Go get me some.
Yeah.
If your father's
I don't know how that's happening.
Have you? Oh, it's gone away now. There you go. Yeah.
That's weird. It was muted up there. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that. Sally in the Woods EP out now. This is the link here for you to go and get it. I've put it in the comments. Check it out. It is available right now. 7 songs.
6. Yeah.
6 songs. So how do you pick them? How do you pick the songs?
They're just the ones that speak to me. Do you know, there's a lot in the folk. I think a lot of the folk music generally is not that favourable to women. Do you know, as I said before, there's a lot where sort of, and these are all the ones of the very strong women, the ones that are like, there's that one, they're just going out and doing their own thing, do you know, and The Outlandish Night. The next one's the one where she drowns him. There's one where they're all just about strong women, do you know. And then the next one after that, The Boneless Weaver, that was written in about 1450, so not a lot of them have like dates. A lot of them are sort of just traditional and like authors are anonymous, but we sort of know that one was written in 1450, and they're all just about strong women, really. Yeah, like women just out there doing their things, working, and not just referred to like the wife or the, you know, whoever who's like just sat at home raising kids, which is obviously a beautiful thing to be doing, but like, isn't it nice if you can be out and doing whatever you want? Yeah, and just cheeky ones, and ones about, I mean, they're normally some sort of, yeah, the other ones are about wanking.
Fiddly.
Yeah, it's fiddly, ideal. Yeah, the ones who've got any sort of reference to fannies, I do like them.
Well, actually, the download code you gave me, actually, randomly, obviously, I know Bandcamp just makes up the random digit, the random letters, but it was wank 3 or something. WNK. WNK 3. But fantastic. So with them, so obviously you're not obviously from Bristol. It's Liverpool you're from. I see feminist Scouse-Folk. Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah. I think I'm just a little bit worried about like I am English, but I do like, I'm sort of ashamed of it, you know, like I've spent a lot of time living in Scotland and in Ireland, and it's taken me a long time to like get over being English, you know, and not carry that shame of like, I feel, you know, like what we've done, but I know it's not me, do you know what I mean? And like, we've all been affected by the same colonial forces and all the rest of it. It's like, and I think Liverpool is always, you know, whenever there's
I'd say that there's a lot of examples of Liverpool, I would say, is more Scottish than parts of Scotland as well. Probably more, I'd say Liverpool's more Scottish than Perth. But you know, Liverpool's like, I mean, they what was it? They boo "God Save the Queen." So you had Rangers fans singing "God Save the Queen" a couple of weeks ago, and the Liverpool fans were booing it, which is a kind of weird scenario thing going on. And also there was, I think it was the band, this Anfield banned the Sun from coming in, and they said, well, if you ban the Sun from reporting in your ground, then you're not going to be allowed to host England games. And they went, cool, we'll just not host England games. So there's obviously shout outs to Liverpool, because they've actually single-handedly boycotted the Sun newspaper, and I think it's probably one of the greatest forms of civil disobedience in our lifetime, because it's very effective. The Sun has to give it away free newspapers, and the local shops just don't want to stock it.
Yeah, no, totally. I'd always say I'm very proud to be from Liverpool, but I'd never, but I'm not very proud to be English or whatever, you know, in a lot of ways. So I think as much as I can, be with Liverpool, that's fine. When I lived in Ireland, people would say, "Where are you from?" And I say Liverpool, and they're like, "Oh yeah," you know, and fine then. But it's like, and the folk scene, and I mean, I've been putting on gigs. I've been down in Bristol, and there's in Bristol, like there's a lot of like, you know, young cool people who want to come and see folk gigs, but generally the sort of scene is quite, it's like old middle class men mostly. Do you know, I think in Scotland you've got the folk scene's a lot younger, and it's almost sexy, do you know, and that's the vibe of it. But I just don't want to be like, I mean, I don't think I'm going to get into the group anyway. I'm not an old man, and you know, I'm not going to get put in that box. But yeah.
Would you say there's a resurgence of the folk? Because it seems to come in waves, doesn't it? It's like it's cool again, and it does feel that way. Celtic Connections just always seems to have a lot of cool stuff on in Januaries as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's definitely very popular, isn't it? I think it's like, it's hard to know, because we obviously went alive in the last bits whenever it was blowing up again. In certain places, yeah, like Bristol, folk music's cool. Liverpool, it's not really. Like, we're going up, when we're playing in Glasgow next week, we're going to play in Liverpool, which is really exciting, because like, it's just not part of the, like, there's my old mate Mikey Kenny, who's a Scouse fiddler, and people say that he's got the old Liverpool style, and there would have been, like there is in Ireland and Scotland as well, there's like regional fiddle styles, and you can tell where someone's from just from the way that they're playing or singing the song or whatever. And a lot of it's been lost, you know, and I think that's why, like, it feels really important to be promoting it, because Liverpool would have been the singing city, you know, in the 60s, like every pub would have been full of people singing songs, and now, like, like I know from playing gigs with the Langan Band, whenever I used to manage them, I'd take them to Liverpool, and some people would accidentally end up in the gigs. And then I had this guy next to me in the one saying, "What's that there? What are they doing?" And I was like, "Well, it's folk music. It's Scottish folk music." And they're like, "Oh, that folk music, is it?" Yeah, like you just don't see it about. Like I was raised on like house and techno music, and then it wasn't until I moved to London when I was 18 that all these people were playing accordions and fiddles, and I was like, "What's that?" Like, you know, and it blows your mind open. But I think it's like it's seeing it around, isn't it, that makes you get into it. And if there's like bits of it going on, then it like gathers momentum.
I was listening to Scouse, a Scouse. It was a kind of Gabba beat, but what's it? It's actually got its own things. It's Scouse House.
Scouse House, yeah.
Scouse House, yeah. I was listening to Scouse House the other day. One of my mates had made a couple of beats.
Oh, amazing!
It was looking for some MCs to go on it, and I was like, "That's so I like it. I like it."
Does he want to give me a remix?
Yeah, well, I think he's actually from Leeds, so like,
right.
but he was just listening to lots of Scouse House, and he just decided to make a couple of tunes, and it sounded great. So it's a kind of that aggressive banging tunes that, I mean, it's still very popular in certain parts of Glasgow as well, but it was definitely popular when I was growing up, and then a sort of Britpop happened, and we all started sort of getting into guitars for a while. But yeah, it's still there. It never goes. I think it was Mogwai's got that tune, "Hardcore will never die, but you will." And it just does seem to be popular. You know, if you do community workshops or anything, it's like the youngins are wanting to rap over the most banging beats ever.
Yeah.
But Liverpool in general always has a great music scene. We've had She Drew the Gun on the show before. They're one of my favourite Liverpool bands at the moment.
Oh, amazing.
She Drew the Gun, superb. But yeah, so we've got it's Glasgow next Friday with Flew the Arrow. Do you know who else is playing? Because obviously I know Lee very well, so I actually seen him today.
Oh, amazing. He doesn't release his lineups. Actually, I don't know whether I should. No, I'm sure I'm allowed to say he doesn't release his lineups though. That's the thing. So I don't know. I'm sure he knows.
Well, that means we can use exclusive banner.
Yeah.
We don't know. We've accidentally leaked out the information.
Yeah.
But Sally in the Woods will be playing Glasgow next Friday night. Liverpool on the Thursday.
Liverpool on the Wednesday.
Thursday.
On
Thursday day off.
No, Twatams.
Thursday. And then Glasgow on Friday. Then a day off on Saturday.
Yeah, and then back down to London. We're doing some gigs in London.
In London as well. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. And is it a 3-piece? Or you said one of them's can't perform at the moment, or is it?
Yeah, one of them's moved to America. Well, for a year, so we're just doing it as the 3-piece. But I think it's easier for gigs, you know, because you don't get loads of money, unfortunately, at this stage. So it's sort of good, I think, to just start off. The drink trios it's easier to pay everyone
Make it work,
and stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, it's definitely less is more in this current live music climate. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about it at all.
Hard. But it'd be cool to do a bigger bands and bigger projects down the line. But yeah, for now and I think getting it solid between 3 is like I think it's quite a powerful number, isn't it?
3 is the magic number. And I seen you. What was it? You're on the front cover of, was it tradfolk.com?
Yeah. Jon reviewed the album, which was lovely, and very nice to. Yeah, he said some really lovely things, which is great. Which is the first person that has, like, you know, from the real traditional folk scene who's really said all those things. So it was great that got it. He said a lot about the Bristol scene, which I don't find myself like very into that. I think, like, I lived in Dublin for a year before the pandemic, and I think like Dublin was super inspiring, and Glasgow as well. I lived in Glasgow for years, and I think that there's a lot of different inspirations going on there. But yeah, Jon gave us a lovely review, which was very nice.
Shouts to Jon. Jon's also on a boat as well, isn't he?
That's Jon Langan. He doesn't write reviews.
Sorry, who does? Sorry, I was going to say he's writing reviews. Who wrote the review? Sorry,
Jon Wilkes. He's called
Jon Wilkes. Oh, right, yeah, amazing.
He sings and plays guitar. Yeah. He's very in the whole trad world, which is great. You know, to get support off that. I didn't mean to say before that. I don't know. There's just, I mean, especially with English folk, there's a very weird sort of, like, if you ever go, I'm sure you've got an equivalent in Scotland, but in England, in London, we've got a Cecil Sharp House and then the Vaughan Williams Memorial Library, which is like the centre of, you know, English song and dance and all that sort of stuff. And if ever you go to the library, I went a couple of months ago and I was really excited to go there, you know, because that's where they've got like all of the old, like the wax cylinders that they would have recorded on, like the folk song collectors is in the early 1900s or whatever. They've got it all there. That's like the heart and soul supposedly of English folk music. But I went and tried to go to the library and there was no one in there. Do you know, and the librarian looked at me and she said, "What, do you want to look at the books?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to show." "Well, have you made an appointment?" I said, "No." And she said, and you know, just really this attitude of like, "What are you doing here?" And we don't really want to let you in, which is, I don't know, just a little bit unfriendly. But even, do you know, Martin Carthy? He's a very famous. He was part of the band The Watersons, which were an amazing, like, and very, yeah, like a gate. You know, gate. They're like one of the most important vocal. It's all vocal harmonies and the rest of it. They were big in the 60s and still famous now. But he said he even got that attitude when he first went there as like a young teenager, that is a bit like, this is our club and you're not allowed. But then in Ireland, they've got the traditional music archives in Dublin, and I went and knocked on the door there, and the door was closed, and they buzzed me in, and they went upstairs and said, "We're really sorry the door was closed, but the wind blows through the building, you know, if we leave it open, so we've had to close it, but you're in now anyway, sorry if it was unwelcoming. Do you want a cup of tea? How many sugars?" Like, no, it just like couldn't. And if you want anything, just let us know. And, "Oh, you're looking at that, what about this book?" And it's like, you think that's probably, with that attitude, you know, that's like how traditional music thrives, isn't it? Because I think there is a bit of like, you know, like, are these songs, am I allowed to sing them, you know what I mean? And like, who does the music belong to? It sort of belongs to, you know, all of us. And
I think so. And it's amazing that you're doing songs that are 1,000 years old as well. So it's like, that's a banger. If you can write a song that lives for 1,000 years, do you think, is there any songs that you've heard in the last 5 years that have come out that could last 1,000 years, you think?
Don't know. I don't really listen to much new music. I need to get. What about you? Have you heard any?
I'm having a think. Who could last 1,000 years? It's hard to predict, isn't it? It's hard to predict what's going to happen tomorrow or next week. It's hard to predict who the Prime Minister will be in a week.
Yeah.
I mean, this is actually a question that, you know, my father had dementia, and it's one of the questions that they ask as a test. Is like, who's the Prime Minister? And what chance has anybody got that's in hospital just now? You know, like, probably let you off if you say David Cameron. Probably it's close enough, and you'd pass the test. Shout outs, Ali Grant. Hello, Ali. How you doing? I'm very good. Thanks for tuning in, Ali. And so I'm going to play another tune. We've got, so it was the Boneless Weaver I've got. So what's the crack with this one?
There's that one. Oh, there's a couple of Scottish ones, you know, or ones with references.
Well, you're the boss here. We can play what you want.
It's up to you. Maybe Charlie. Maybe that one, Charlie.
Charlie. Okay. So what's the story?
That's it's about Bonnie Prince Charlie.
All right. Yeah.
Well, loosely, but then, she's basically telling him that even though he might be a prince and charming and all the rest of it, she's still not going to do all the washing and cooking.
Yeah. He's not that charming. Jay Lee. Hello, Jay Lee. How you doing? Hello, Joy. Joy Awesome. Good melody can last hundreds, thousands of years. It certainly has. And how old's Charlie?
Don't know. Sorry.
Let's just Google. What year was Bonnie Prince Charlie about?
He was 18. Well, he was around 1800s, wasn't he? He was the Jacobite 1700s.
So he was born in 1720 and he died 1788. Not a bad innings for that time. 1788. So you'd imagine that this is written round about then, or was it? Yeah, we'll go for that.
I mean, he was around then. It's got a lot of like floating verses, which a lot of the traditional folk songs do. They sort of like move verses and things around, but yeah.
Let's check it out. Let us know in the comments. This is Sally in the Woods with Charlie.
is a dandy. Every time he goes to town, he brings me sugar candy. Well, I don't want none of your weevily wheat, don't want none of your barley. Take some flour in half an hour and bake a cake for Charlie. It's Charlie here and it's Charlie there, it's Charlie over the ocean. Charlie, he'll be back again if he don't change his notion. My pretty little pink, I once did think never could do without you. Since I've lost all hope for you, I care very little about you.
Amazing stuff. Charlie from the EP out now. It's Sally in the Woods. I'll put the link in the comments here. There you get it. You can stream it or download it from Bandcamp. And it's not on anywhere else just now. It's only there. So
right, yeah, now debating the whole Spotify thing.
That SoundCloud thing that I played earlier on was not you. Because I did a quick live thing earlier on and I played the wrong Sally in the Woods. So there is another Sally in the Woods, so not to be confused. It's only in Bandcamp, not on Insta, anything like that, just Bandcamp.
We're on Instagram, I just haven't posted anything yet. It's mad, isn't it? Because I've done so much promotion work for other bands, but then as soon as they come to me and my music, it's like, I don't know, it's a hard self-promotion and it's so much of it as well, isn't it? You know,
it's terrible. It's really difficult. I'm my own band's managers, all the bands I'm in, and it is difficult to just push your own stuff. You've always got to find a way around it. But I think what is actually quite good though, I quite like the idea of just only releasing stuff on Bandcamp and not being available anywhere else, so that people have to go to the Bandcamp place, and that's the only place where people can truly support you.
Yeah.
So and you can always go on Spotify later on.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's good for people discovering it, isn't it? But then that thing of, it's you put so much time and effort and money into these things, and then it feels strange, to get, what is it, 0.0001p.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe I'll go on it later. Yeah.
Yeah, day later. Yeah. Jay Lee saying that was a banger. It was indeed. And Ali Grant, I reckon the stuff the hip hop community does are kind of modern folk songs because they're often about life right now in a social history sort of way. Who knows what they'll mean in years to come? I agree with that. I agree with that. I believe that it is folk music, and
yeah, that's the thing. And from all that we've got, like, do you know, all the songs that, well, all the songs, the Twiddles one, the one about masturbation's not traditional. That was written like kind of recently by these. I've forgotten her name, but that was written by someone like, you know, within our lifetime sort of thing, as you might know, hear from the lyrics. But the rest of them, you know, they're all collected. There was some like Anna Gordon, and there was some amazing collectors, women collectors, but a lot of them were down to like the Cecil Sharp guy. He was like one of the most prolific folk songs collectors, and he'd just go out and meet people in the early 1900s, and whatever he decided was good or relevant, then he'd record. But there's a lot of records of him saying like, oh, that song's crap, I'm not going to record that one. And you know, someone else came along later and were like, no, that's a really great song, and we've got it because someone else decided to write it down. So like whatever we've got is sort of at the mercy of these mostly men.
Gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Are they rich, white gatekeepers?
And a lot of it might have been lost, but sure, there's still a lot of gems in there, do you know? Yeah.
Twiddle sounds naughty. It is a bit naughty. We'll actually probably we'll play that before we go. That'll be the last song. Maybe we'll end in a naughty one. So like, what if? So like, okay, because I'm actually we're very close to maybe announcing a Hug Money party we're going to do. So let's just say, for example, Money Was No Object, and obviously you've done amazing stuff curating with Smugglers and stuff like that. Who would be the ultimate lineup for a Hug Money knees up? Who would you have?
In Glasgow?
Well, it's going to be in the kind of outskirts of Glasgow, but just, it could be, we'll say Glasgow. It could be anyone, though. It could be anyone. Money's no object. They've got to be alive, though. Who would you have in the dream gig?
I love the Poozies. Do you know the Poozies?
I've heard of the Poozies, but I'm not that familiar with them.
Yeah, they're great. I love, do you know Rhona Connolly and Honey Feet?
Yes, Honey Feet, yes.
Yeah. I'd say her actually for 8 hours. Rhena's been like such a big inspiration to me, and she's such a like supporter, do you know, of music. And she shouted at me in a gorgeous Northern Irish accent and told me, when am I going to record my album? And so obviously very quickly did, because you don't whatever that woman tells you to do, you're going to do. I'd say Honey Feet. Who else do I really love? There's loads of bands. And Dancer Dub seemed like they had that amazing show there on Saturday. Obviously, I didn't make it, but
I was there.
Oh yeah, it was a great night.
It was great. It was superb. It's first time I'd been in that venue as well, which Slay, and it was great because it's Glasgow definitely needs another, you know, a sort of mid-level place, because it's like there's lots of cool wee venues that are maybe 100 to 200. And then it just seems to just like the next step up. It's like St. Luke's is like, I think 800 or something. I don't know exactly, but 700, 800. And then after that, it's kind of like the Hydro, 15,000. So I think it's 500 capacity. So that's great, because that means it's bigger than Stereo. And the bar staff were nice. The bouncers were friendly. So I really enjoyed that. I've actually got a little clip, if you want to see a little 60-second clip here I took of the gig. I've actually got another one I've not put up yet, but yeah, and Dance a Dub, which most people will. A lot of people might not recognise the name, but you'll know Tom Spirals. You'll all know Tom Spirals. So you get the rough idea. You get the idea, didn't you? It was really good.
Amazing.
Great band, and and Dance a Dub, recommend them. Sold out. It was completely sold out. You couldn't get a ticket for love nor money.
Amazing.
And I think, I mean, they've obviously all been doing it for a long time, but I think as a band they've only been going since I think I vaguely remember them doing their first gig at Hogmanay around about Christmas time last year.
Yeah.
And they played Boomtown Festival to like, I don't know, it was like 5,000 people or something like that.
Amazing.
So it's good to see them all getting those kind of crowds. Good on
Yeah,
them.
totally. I'm trying to book Heisk. Do you know Heisk?
Oh yeah.
For Kelburn next year, so they'd be very good for a party. And Ando Glasgow Collective. Do you ever know them?
Oh right, yeah.
Glasgow-based charity celebrating all the Roma gypsies in Scotland.
Amazing.
We had them play at the Kelburn, at my stage at Kelburn last year, and they were great.
Oh,
So
this year at Kelburn.
Yeah. This year,
It's the first Kelburn I've missed for about 10 years. Sadly, I couldn't make it. Yeah, but yeah, I used to do the Pyramid stage. I used to do a day at the Pyramid, but it wasn't. I didn't do it this year. It's the Skinny stage now, from start to finish. So I didn't do it, but I'll hopefully be back there next year because Kelburn is an amazing place to go. Joy's got a question. Have you ever considered doing some crossover genre stuff, like Stuck in the Wheel did with some dubstep trad folk tunes?
Not yet, no. Maybe one day. I was quite excited about Scouse House remix.
Yes, Scouse House.
I think I want to do that. I think I've always, like, that was my first, house and techno and hip hop were my first musical loves. I used to be really into my hip hop. I think I think maybe down the line. I think, like, as much as possible, trying to bring like interest in and like a bit that Jon said in our review there, that we're dancing new life into old songs. I think as much as possible, keep it like the first track you played, it's so stripped back, but I think like just keeping it like really simple, really traditional, and hopefully like getting that like spirit in it. I mean, it's not the same as big dirty beats, is it? But my percussive dancer Jess Collins does do some pretty amazing stuff, like, and I think it's nice to just keep it simple and
See, I've seen that you've got a percussive dancer, and there is no videos though. We've got no videos, anything on YouTube or anything like we could see the dancer in action.
Not yet. That's what, like, that first track you played, that's just all her feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
it's no
tap
drums
dancing.
or
Rhona. Is it count as tap dancing?
Yeah, it's a fusion between like tap, and she does a bit of Irish dance moves and Appalachian. They do like flat foot dance in there. So she's like come up with her own style of accompanying music just with her feet. Yeah, and that's cool. And I think
that is very cool. Your own coming up with your own dance. That is amazing. What was Ireland like anyway? You've been in Liverpool, Bristol, Scotland, Ireland. So how's Ireland compared? I'm actually in the process. I think we're doing a wee tour of Ireland in February. Just like I don't think we're going to take the full band. We've been asked to bring the full band over, but I think we're just going to do maybe like just me and Joe. Maybe do some acoustic stuff and do some backing track stuff, or maybe some spoken word. But where should we go in Ireland? Where would you recommend?
I mean, I mostly just lived in Dublin for the year and went up to Dundalk a few times and out down to Clare and went up to Donegal. It's amazing. Like, Dublin was the most thriving traditional music scene that I've ever found. Like the pubs. I did. But I was studying Irish traditional music there, but just living in the pubs really, like 7 nights a week. There'd be like 2 or 3 amazing sessions, and they do a lot of like tunes and songs in the one session. I think in England and maybe Scotland as well, you'd either just get songs or you'd get tunes, but they often mix them together. And like the people that are coming out of there at the moment are just unbelievably great musicians, and it was great for learning and seeing the really active, thriving music scene.
I'm excited to go back. I've not been to Ireland for a long time, so I'm excited to go back to the motherland. And
go to Walsh's if you're in Dublin on a Sunday or Monday night. The 2 sessions there in Walsh's pub in Stony Batter.
Yes, that's on the list.
Yeah, I don't think I would have moved back if it wasn't for the pandemic, and then basically the pubs closed in March, and I was living in squats and in my van, and like it was very hard. So I came back to my boat where I am now. But yeah, I don't think I would have moved back if it wasn't for
The boat looks fantastic.
Yeah, that's cute.
Joy says, I've got to do the Bairns bedtime. Love the music. We'll be following your work. So
Thanks, Joy.
So if you are just joining us, Sally in the Woods, our EP is out now. It came out a few weeks ago. You can go and get it at Bandcamp. The link is in the comments, and it'll be in the info bit as well if you're watching the replay. And I think we're going to play the last song of the evening, which is the one that we've been talking about. It's Twiddles, which is a bit naughty. But yeah, if you could just tell us a little bit about that.
I've forgotten the woman's name who wrote it. Can I tell you after? And can you link to it? But yeah, I think, and it's just it is like a bit of a response, I think, to the normal sea songs that that generally the story goes that the men go away and the women are left on the quay or whatever, crying their eyes out and saying, "Oh, my love, do you know when you're going to come back?" and all the rest of it. But these girls are basically saying that there's other things to twiddle when your man's gone away, and women can basically just be doing their own thing and they don't need to be stood about crying when men leave.
Amazing. This is Twiddles from Sally in the Woods.
When the boats all get to sailing and the men are off and gone, what about the women who are up and left alone? Do you think they sit and twiddle thumbs until their men come home? There's other things to twiddle when a girl is left alone. It's twiddly-idly-idly, twiddly-idly-eye. Oftentimes a man will think he's left you in dismay. Twiddly-idly-idly, twiddly-idly-eye. There's other things to twiddle when your man has gone away. She was young and she was gay. She won the heart of Captain Dan before he sailed away. He left her high and dry with just a kiss upon the chin. But as the ship went sailing out, another ship sailed in. It's twiddly-idly-idly, twiddly-idly-eye. Oftentimes a man will think he's left you in dismay. It's twiddly-idly-idly, twiddly-idly-eye. There's other things to twiddle when your man has gone away. Then there was Lucinda Brown, as fair as any maid. Her true love went a voyaging, a sailor man by trade. So keep that fire burning, love, those are the words he spoke. Found herself another man to keep that fire stoked. Oh, twiddly-idly-idly, twiddly-idly-eye. Oftentimes a man will think he's left you in dismay. It's twiddly-idly-idly, twiddly-idly-eye. There's other things to twiddle when your man has gone away. Stories about the sailors and their sport, how every sailor has a girl on every port. If you add a 2 and 2, you figure out quite quick. It's just because the girls all have a lad on every ship. Oh, twiddly-idly-idly, twiddly-idly-eye. Oftentimes a man will think he's left you in dismay. It's twiddly-idly-idly, twiddly-idly-eye. There's other things to twiddle when your man has gone away. So next time you're with a lady and she takes you to her bed, be sure to treat her well and remember what I've said. If you do not treat her well, know that this is true. Us girls can have our fun without involving you. Oh, twiddly-idly-idly, twiddly-idly-eye. Oftentimes a man will think he's left you in dismay. Twiddly-idly-idly, twiddly-idly-eye. There's other things to twiddle when your man has gone away.
Fantastic. Superb. Thank you very much, Sophie.
Thank
Sally
you,
in the
Matt.
Woods EP out now on Bandcamp. The link is in the comments. If you're in Liverpool, go and see it live. Whereabouts in Liverpool are you playing on Thursday?
The Casimir Gardens, but there's the Casimir Stockroom. Yeah.
And on the Wednesday, what day? Sorry, it's Friday you're in Glasgow.
Yeah, Wednesday in Liverpool, Thursday
Wednesday,
in the
Liverpool.
Twartams.
Thursday in the
And,
Twatams in Perth. I know for a fact there is a lot of Peruvians. What are they called again? Perth people. Peruvians.
Peruvians, no.
Perth regions. Perth
Oh,
regions.
Perthiegies.
Perthiges. No, that's not right. Wait there. People from
Perthudlians?
Perthudlians. People of Perth. No, they've got a good name as well. They have got a good name.
Yeah.
People of Perth are called. What are people in Perth called? They're called. Oh no, that's Australian. Wadjuk. That's not what I was thinking. People of Perth, Scotland. What are they called? This is terrible. People from Perth are called. What do you call people from Perth, Scotland?
I'll ask them when I go and I'll tell
Sand gropers.
you.
What? So a sand groper apparently. People from Perth are called sand gropers. This is off the internet. It's saying that. So I don't know where that comes from, but there we go. I know that there's people from Perth watching this just now. You can explain why they're groping sand. I don't know. That doesn't seem right, does it? But it's the internet saying that it is correct, so we're just going to need to take the internet's word for it. Ali's saying Perthites. J. Lee was saying that song was amazing. Ali saying annoyingly catchy. And Epi saying not saying anything about fisherwoman's finger twiddling, twiddle eye, twiddle away. Quite right. The vocals are amazing on it. So Perth anyway, Perth. So it's Wednesday, Liverpool, Perth and Thursday, and then on the Friday it's a secret gig. So people don't even know that you're playing it. So that means that they can't get a ticket, or can they?
No, you can. You can get a ticket. Yeah. I've got the link. Can I send you it after? Will you put it in the notes?
You can send me it after, and I'll put it in the info.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this back, you'll see it. You'll find it in the info, and we'll put it in the comments. And thanks, Cheery Tune. Bring a blush to many a coy lady. Says Effie. Fantastic. Thank you. Before we go, just a wee shout out to tomorrow we have DJ Wonksy. So speaking of banging techno, it doesn't get much more banging than DJ Wonksy. She'll be doing a live set with Morphamish, live from our barn in the East Coast. Live DJ sets from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So make sure you tune in for that for Club Anywhen. And then on Thursday night, we're going to be having he's number one in the charts, Aidan Martin, Euphoric Recall. His book about addiction and trauma is, he's going to be talking about that. 7 o'clock on Thursday night, live on You Call That Radio's YouTube channel. There's also an STV documentary about him as well, so I'd recommend you watch that before you watch the show. Then we can answer any questions you have for him live on the air. And once again, thank you so much, Sophie. Good luck with the album, and I'll hopefully see you next Friday. I think I'll hopefully make it down to Leeds because I would like to do that. Good, nice one. Enjoy your tour, and I'll hopefully see you on Friday.
Thank you.
Everyone else, see you tomorrow for Club Anywhen on here 8 o'clock. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Do you want it? You want weirdo or do you want it?